of conduct that you saw tonight, the issue was challenged. It went up to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals struck down Ferndale's ordinance. So to the extent that we can provide additional security, I think the city can do that. But we are completely outside of our authority to try in any way to restrict the ability of these individuals to bring firearms into City Hall.
Can these guys walk into the court with firearms?
The court do it. Court's a different, it's a different section of the law. There's a specific provision in the state law that allows courts to prohibit this kind of activity. But public buildings generally cannot.
Make this a courthouse again.
You know, I recall now that we're talking about this when the district court was on, well, in this chamber on the third floor, there was discussion of putting the security gates or what you have to walk through when you go to the court out at the county. But we never got around to doing that because they ended up moving when we started talking about it.
This happened recently in the Pontiac City Council chambers. It may be the same group or people, I don't know, but their council was frustrated also and didn't have any remedies to prohibit that conduct. I don't know if they added more security or what they did, but they couldn't prohibit that conduct. So I think we're going to be frustrated also based on that case. And
then at the very least, we need to have some policemen in here to check their credentials and to make sure that those weapons they have are legal, that they're not stolen, that they are registered, that they have safety inspections on them. You can't do that?
I don't think you can do that, Terry.
Why not?
Nobody's frustrated about this as much as we are. You know, we've gone through training on this, and we can't, you remember, I mean, you saw someone walking down the street with a gun. It's like, oh my God, and you'd stop them and investigate. You can't do that anymore. That's what they want you to do. They're hoping that you do that. It's going to cause this confrontation, and they get all kinds of litigation going.
We're going to use our beats and eats.
So let me ask you something. They're going to be able to walk through arts, eats, and beats?
This is where there's some exceptions where you can. Let me find it for you here. Banks, church, court, theater, sports arenas, daycare, hospitals, and bars you cannot carry.
Yeah, the bar angle, because this Arts Beats and Eats is a one big liquor tent basically. It might apply, but I'm not sure. But it'll take some research, I'm sure. But I don't know if all the laws that he was citing are applicable here, or if our laws are that bad. And I don't know if we've researched them all. But in general, from what I've read, our ability to restrict this kind of conduct or control it is very, very limited, and there's just only a few exceptions. And some of those exceptions may help us with the Arts Beats and Eats, but I don't know if it's going to help us here in our chambers. I think we're going to be.
I'm going to serve notice on everybody. I'm going to be armed from here on out.
Because you're right.
Well,
okay. Let's see. You got something to add?
Yeah, what I'm going to suggest is, first of all, I'm reading the Act, and David, perhaps you could give us a little summary of the Act so that we could be familiar with it, because MCL 28.425.0. Perhaps also we could ask the police department to have an officer present at this meeting and other public meetings for security, because we
only have one.
Right, we have one, but ZBA doesn't have one, planning doesn't have one. People with guns are coming into meetings. I'd feel a lot better if there was an officer at all the meetings.
I understand that this group has been running us for the last couple of months. They are setting us up for our beats needs. They've called me at home, left messages at home. I've gotten the emails. Mr. Gillam's got the emails. I'm sure Mr. Johnson's got the emails. They know what they're talking about, and they know where the loopholes are, and they are basically daring us to challenge them. Was it some other city recently that they sued and won? I mean, they're looking.
Mr. Mayor, I understand that,
yeah.
And I want the city attorney to look into it. But all I'm saying is that for the safety and security of us and other volunteers and public officials, I don't see any harm in having one of the officers detailed to be at meetings where the public's going to be in attendance. That's not prohibited.
No, it's not prohibited, but is it realistic? Because, again, these guys are coming in here packing their guns because they're challenging us here at this meeting.
Right.
We've never seen them in here before. And, if we basically tell them that, yeah, okay, you can carry, there's nothing we can do about it, they're going to go challenge somebody else.
Well, and I hope that none of these guys ever get really angry, or there's some nut that comes in there in the middle of them, and all of a sudden cranks off a few rounds, and we can say, well, gee, that never happened before because these guys never did that kind of thing. We need security in here when there's somebody in here with a gun. And not just one person sitting behind the desk here. We need somebody to be out here to watch to have a view of the whole thing and sit behind everybody. We got to have a couple of guys out there when they do this kind of thing. I mean, let's make them as uncomfortable as they make us.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm just saying that I think that underscored our vulnerability sitting up here.
Absolutely,
as
and
targets,
that was
and I
their
don't
intent.
Like it. So maybe we can make them wear funny hats when they come in the building if they have weapons like that. There must be something a municipality can do.
well-
Maybe somebody could, warn us of that. Maybe we could have more security. I just think it underscores our vulnerability, and these are kind of trying times.
Well, and the other thing is we pass resolutions all the time petitioning Lansing to do this, to do that, or the feds and all that stuff. There certainly ought to be something drawn up here, sent around to all the cities that I would hope that they could agree with to get some legislation to put public buildings on the same category as churches, sporting events.
I'm on that too.
Say again?
And Michigan Municipal League.
Whatever it is, but there ought to be a full court press on this, They have more on this than whether or not they get a streetcar up Woodward Avenue, for crying out loud. Let's go home.
Well, we would if you'd stop talking. Drinkwine supported by Mr. Razor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned.